right, so we finally have everything that's going into Epic Universe. All the announcements have made. Our Celestial portal has been filled. The Chronos has been filled.
Yes.
So let's dive into everything that we know. I mean, this is like, I feel like a good breakdown for people around like what actually is coming next year in 2025.
Yeah, I'm so excited, man. After everything got announced to me, today was the last announcement with all the Harry Potter stuff.
Yeah, Harry Potter's birthday. It was a good date to
and I don't know if you saw, but they also showed it off at the Olympics, and that's like perfect because it was in Paris.
It was in Paris. Ooh,
right?
That's actually,
Isn't that, that's where
Paris.
it is.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect timing, actually. Yeah. So you got Paris because over in the new Wizarding World at Epic, it's going to be Paris and London all blended into one, which is pretty cool.
Yes.
All right, so let's break it down from the top, man. So how is this different maybe than IOA or the original Universal Studios? For one, if they've been living under a rock and they don't know about Epic.
Yeah, I think that what kind of sets it apart are the portals. So like, you know, Disney always talks about like sight lines and stuff, but if you go to any of the parks, whether it's Disney or Universal, you're going to see you're going to kind of blend into the new area that you're going into. It's not going to be like a snap jump from, you know, this area to this area. And the portals kind of like break it apart that way, you know? Yeah. You're going to travel from, you know, Celestial Park, which is like your base center area, over, and then this is like the entrance to the park.
This is like, so for those of you who don't know, you haven't seen these, or maybe you've seen them online, but you didn't know what they actually were. This is actually something that Universal sent us, and it came with just the one coin, like 3 months ago? And then every month since, they've sent us a new coin to go in here, and so we've been able to add it in. That gives us the entire Chronos, which is pretty cool. So this is, you're going to walk into Epic Universe, and it'll feel like I'm going into a portal. The one thing I maybe didn't like about, or I don't like about Universal, the original park, is that it seems very hodgepodge put together. The only thing that it feels like it's its own world, or it like does feel like there's a good transition, is Diagon Alley.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like, whereas this is going to be very much so like you've got the park in the middle, which is Celestial Park, and then going into the portals, which is such a cool idea.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned like all the, it's not Hogsmeade. What did you say? It's
Diagon Alley.
Diagon Alley. Yeah. I remember like the first time I went in there and I took somebody that had never been before. I was like, yeah, like you just walk through here and you're in there, and like their face whenever they go through and they're like, oh, I'm just going through like a little hallway, and then all of a sudden you're like in this big massive area. And I think that's what's it's gonna feel like that every time you go into a different area through these portals.
Yeah, so let's break it down. So you got Celestial Park, which is going to be the middle, which is sort of the main portal going in, but then you've got these offshoots. Let's talk about each one kind of in order here.
So in Celestial Park, that's your center area. They have really two main attractions. One really marquee attraction, which is Starfall Racers. It's a dueling coaster. It's going to go real fast. I think it goes upside down. But it's like a dual launching coaster. Super excited for that one.
Yeah, for sure. And then beyond that, you got the carousel, which I know you'll have a good carousel chase all by yourself.
Yeah. And then, I mean, there's like a wet play area for kids, but mostly, I mean, it's going to be the roller coaster. Like that's the marquee attraction in the center, which is really cool. Like the fact that they've put a roller coaster not themed to any of the areas, like it's just on its own in the center of the park.
Yeah,
I love that. And then let's get into Harry Potter then.
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, this is my favorite part. So this is the third of the Wizarding World that's going to be here in Orlando.
Yep.
So we had Hogsmeade, which is the original. Then you've got the Harry Potter diagonally, and and then now this new Ministry of Magic, which is so cool. So it's set up as Paris, and there was a lot of things that they released today. They talked about how the shortest building in this area is the tallest building in Diagon Alley, meaning that it's going to be so immersive and feel very much so like a city. And these buildings are tall.
Yeah,
I mean, and they have to, I would guess, probably be a width apart to where it doesn't feel super dark as you're walking through.
I think the way that they described it is like they built a Paris street.
They did, yeah.
Like it's not like you go into the parks now, and like if you go down like Main Street in like Disney, everything, you may not realize it, but everything's built a little bit lower in scale. Like it's not all full scale. So like if you went up and got next to that window that looks really big up there, it's not. It's like, you know, it's like this
tiny.
Yeah,
it's an optical illusion. Yeah. Whereas this is actually very tall. Like, I mean, and the fact that they've added shops and places that obviously we can, you know, they're going to sell merch like crazy, but the bakery and other things that are coming in there. What else did they say is coming to Wizarding World?
I mean, the coolest part, I think, outside, so like I'm not a huge Fantastic Beasts fan because I haven't watched any of the movies, but this gives me a reason to, which I'm sure this is what they want.
That's
right?
exactly. They want to kick it back off.
Yeah. So, I mean, they have a Le Cirque Arcanu.
You said that fantastically.
Well, that's how they said it in the video. So, but it's like it's a Fantastic Beasts show, and like I said, I don't know about these movies. You may know a little bit more than me.
A little bit. I mean, so we are huge OG Harry Potter fans, and we've watched the new ones, but we just didn't get as much into it as the old ones, I think, and that seems to be the trend with a lot of people, which is great because they didn't make it just about Fantastic Beasts, which is what we thought originally when they announced it. It was like, oh, is this really going to go over well? But no, they added both. They've got both the old IP and the new IP, which I think is brilliant.
So the show is going to follow all of the Fantastic Beasts stuff. So apparently there's like I don't know about this stuff, so I'm just going to base it off of what I know from what I read. But there's like a suitcase or something, and like all the Fantastic Beasts are jumping out of the suitcase, and they're going to have these massive puppets, and there's going to be like people on trapeze and stuff. I don't know. It sounds cool.
It looks amazing. Yeah. It looks like they're blending in both like stage, like actually actors are going to have animatronics, I'm sure, and then a bunch of other things in the tent. So this is the first live action Harry Potter anything we're going to get, and it's going to be in the Ministry of Magic.
Yeah, very excited about it. But why don't you talk about the ride and just the pathing to the ride, the whole experience?
So if you've ever seen the original movies, to get the Flu Network. So you had it from kind of going into the Ministry of Magic out to other places in the world. And so this is the way that's going to be. So the green flames kind of come up and around, they said, and it's going to take you into the ride, which then it takes you into the inside of the Ministry of Magic. And it's not just some little waiting area. They've recreated the entire interior that we show throughout the movies. And it's going to be set up to where this is after Dumbledore is dead. And apparently...
No, it's after...
Voldemort is dead. I'm sorry. And apparently Umbridge is trying to bring him back.
Yes.
And that's what the ride is going to be. And I thought you said it very well when we did a quick recap over on Instagram. You said it's kind of a mix of Tower of Terror and
Spider-Man.
So
the way I did a deep dive on like how the attraction is supposedly going to work. It's went through like multiple different potential phases, but it sounds like, imagine the Spider-Man ride vehicle. Okay. And imagine you have a it's not a forklift, but what is it, like the lifts that you would use to reach like a high point, like a Costco. Yeah. So imagine that's underneath the Spider-Man vehicle, and you're able to go like between scenes like that, but you're still moving around like in one of those vehicles from like Spider-Man or Transformers. So I think it's going to be super immersive. They said that the building, I think that the ride is inside of, is the biggest building for any attraction they've ever built. And I mean, this is going to be their marquee attraction for the entire park. I think this is probably their number one, like where they put probably the most money and time, I think.
I think so too. I mean, and as a Harry Potter fan, I'm just excited to be in that whole building. Do you ever get sick on some of the Harry Potter rides?
So the only one that I would say that kind of like messes with me is the one inside the castle.
Yeah, my wife too. And so she's like, she won't ride it again. And so I'm hoping that they learned from how that was set up and how that works, how people like it or don't like it. But because some of the shots seemed very similar. And so I'm hoping that they've kind of recreated or add something a little bit different.
I think that, and we'll talk about it in a minute, but they're using a similar ride vehicle system for the ride inside of the monster area.
Okay.
It's using the same type of vehicle, but in the Harry Potter ride inside of the main castle right now, the reason that I feel like people get sick is because there's those domed screens that you're inside of, and they said they've removed those completely out of that new attraction. So hopefully they do take like a note out of all their playbooks of like people getting sick on these rides, because I feel like people get sick most often in that attraction.
I totally agree. Do you ever get sick from Spider-Man?
No.
Me either. I just love it. It's so great.
Spider-Man.
So if they bring any of that with like a little bit better, obviously the screens, and it didn't say anything about glasses.
I don't want them to do that.
Me too.
I hope not. We interrupt this video to tell you about our sponsor, the Pozek Group. Have you ever thought about selling or buying a home right here in Orlando? We'd love to be your real estate resource of choice. Reach out today at info@pozekgroup.com or call the number below. We'd love to help out with your next big adventure.
All right, so there's so much to talk about. So Super Nintendo World, what are you most excited about there?
I mean, okay, so I have mixed feelings here. I'm excited to just get immersed in that land because they have the Mario Kart attraction, right? And I'll go into it a little bit. It's like a augmented reality attraction where you put on this little like glasses, but it looks like a little Mario hat, and you ride inside the carts and stuff. But it's not a fast moving attraction. This is something that anybody could ride, like your grandma could ride it. It's not fast, but like while you're riding through like these physical sets, there's like Mario characters like flying around on go-karts and stuff, and like you'll be able to interact by like throwing shells and stuff with the buttons. But like I'm not fully bought into the augmented reality stuff. No, I think the more physical sets and the more like they can stay away from me having to put glasses on my face. Like another example. Like Remy's, I feel like would be so much better if I did not have to put glasses
Agreed. And then you've got these huge, oversized, amazing structures in there, and you're kind of bummed that you have to have those on.
Exactly.
And then I feel like the older rides get, because I think if I'm not an Imagineer, I don't work for any of these people, but like the older a ride gets, the more things break, and the less those glasses actually work super well. And so the older these rides, you go into these ones that are 15 years old, and the glasses are all warped, and it doesn't really feel that great. So the more practical effects they can do, the better.
I agree. And then we have Yoshi's Adventure, which is going to be your favorite attraction. You ride in a slow-moving little Yoshi cart on like an Omni-Mover style ride.
Yep.
And
I'll be on Yoshi's while you're on the Celestial Park carousel.
Yeah. But like you have to search for eggs throughout the ride, and you hit the big eggs.
My daughters are going to love it.
I'm sure. It'll be good for the right people. But
for sure.
The thing I'm most excited for, obviously, it's the minecart ride.
100%.
Donkey Kong section. This is something all new. This hasn't been built yet. I think they're working on it in Japan right now. It might open first over there, but it's a Donkey Kong minecart ride. It's a roller coaster. And the coolest thing about this is it will feel like and look like from the outside that you're kind of not on the track.
Yeah.
It's like a track underneath the track, and then the track that you actually see from like whenever you're riding and stuff is not. It's all busted up and it looks all messed up, but you're actually safe. You're good to go.
Yeah.
there's a track underneath that keeps you safe. But
Do you ever play Donkey Kong?
Of course.
Yeah, that was the best.
And like the Donkey Kong, the minecart levels were the hardest.
Exactly. And where you have to jump.
Yep.
And then especially as it sped up, I never did really well. my 6-year-old daughter does very well, and I suck. So,
Yeah.
all right.
What are you most excited for the Mario area?
So I think the bands they were talking about, like as you go through and kind of like interact, there's something about immersive in general, which I think is like the main thing that it's the buzzword about every theme park attraction nowadays, how it's immersive. But I think that's what we're looking for. You want to be transported into a game, transported into a movie. And I think that's what Epic Universe is all about. But specifically Super Nintendo World and Wizarding World are probably my two that I'm most excited about.
Yeah.
But How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah.
Isle of Berk.
I think for me, this one was like the biggest surprise for me. This is the least excited for an IP I am for anything at the park, right? But they're offering a lot in this area, and I'm just excited to get immersed in it. I've also never watched these movies.
No,
never watched them.
My kids have. I actually need to go back before it opens up to make sure that I fully understand. But just so, even those, if you're not interested in it, what are they going to be offering here?
So a ton of attractions. We've got a roller coaster it's like it is a launch coaster, but it's more geared towards families and kids and stuff. It's like very low to the ground, so you're like flying through. I think you're supposed to be like on Hiccup. Yep. I'm not sure. Yeah, or Toothless. I don't know the names of these. You're going to be on a roller coaster.
And Toothless.
Yep, you're going to be on a roller coaster, and it's going to feel like you're on a dragon. They're also going to have the live show, which I'm excited about. This is going to be sick. I think that I've seen some of the stuff from, I think it was in Japan as well, but they have like these massive puppets and like just different stuff that, like, there's like one scene where this guy's like flying on a dragon, like through. Insane. Yeah. That one looks very cool.
More things to get outside of the heat as well, right? Like a lot of this, we need things to like people eaters, right? Where it's like get people off the street, get them into some air conditioning, and this is going to be a great option for that.
Yeah, agreed. There's like a wet boat ride, kind of like, I think they have something like this at Legoland, where like you ride on this little boat and you're like shooting at different people with water guns and stuff. And then there's like this giant, I don't even know how to really describe it. It's like these two big bars like this, and there's on the ends of each of these bars you have like all these individual seats, so you're not sitting with somebody else, and you can kind of control if you flip through the sky. Like it looks very intense. A little scary to me, but yeah. And then there's like a kids play area in the area, but in general I think that I know that they also have a restaurant and bar, and I'm just excited to kind of have a couple of drinks and be in
Isle of Berk.
Yeah.
And then there's the Viking training camp, so interactive, where junior Vikings can learn about dragons and the variety of physical activities.
Yeah, it's like a play area.
Yeah. You're gonna be over there?
Sure.
Probably not.
Right after the carousel.
After the carousel. All right, so we're going to go past How to Train Your Dragon into Dark Universe. Now, from an IP perspective, I think they crushed this one.
Oh, yeah.
And like what I've heard from this area and this portal, is what we're calling them, portals, as they enter the portal?
Yes.
Yeah. And so this is Darkmoor. And the fact that I've seen now that online there's been different things where they're going to try to keep this area kind of dark even during the day.
Yeah.
And they're going to have fog rolling even during the day.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah. And so it's like to have that continually going to it. Because I mean, how creepy. You want to feel a little old monsters, old creepy the entire time.
As creepy as you can feel in the middle of like the
100-degree weather. Yeah, exactly. It's like sometimes when it's hurricaning here, it feels a little creepy. But, so what else is going to be over in Darkmoor?
So, I mean, there's like the marquee attraction, which is Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein experiment. So this one, you're not going to be following with Frankenstein. I believe it's it's Dr. Frankenstein's daughter or granddaughter. I'm not sure if it's his daughter or his
Victoria
Yes,
Frankenstein.
Dr. Victoria Frankenstein. So it's going to be a mixture of her trying to like bring to life, I think, a new creature, but then Dracula's not having it. He's frustrated. He's getting mad. He's gonna try to attack, and there's gonna be a clash there. So this is the one that I said earlier is gonna use some sort of similar ride vehicle system to the ride inside the castle. Why am I forgetting the name of that ride?
Hogwarts?
Yeah, it's the Hogwarts ride.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but it's gonna use a similar ride system. So I'm excited for this one. I think this is probably my second most excited attraction. Like I'm most excited for this one outside of the Harry Potter one. And then we have a spinning like light launch coaster. It's going to be family friendly. It's the Curse of the Werewolf. So you find out, I believe, that you have the like Curse of the Werewolf or something. Yeah,
inspired by the Wolfman.
Yeah. So it's it's like a launch coaster. It's gonna spin. I don't know if you remember Primeval Whirl. Not like that, but I'm sure it'll spin a little bit like that. And then there's the makeup experience too.
Yeah, I'm actually most excited about. I'll probably be Frankenstein and keep going. Yeah, it'll be fun. So
another thing about that area that I'm super excited for is they said that they're going to have like the monsters walking around the area regularly. And it also like leads me to wonder like what this could mean long term for like Halloween Horror Nights, and like how does this play into like will they do certain overlays in the area that like make it more exciting? I don't know. It's exciting to me to kind of
as they sort of test out these new things to see how people interact and how they like it or not. So there's 11 different rides so far that we know of, and 5 other attractions. So 16 total.
Yeah.
That's actually quite a bit. So I know we don't fully know because they haven't released all of the ideas of like how tickets are going to work, and are they going to have from what we're hearing, it's not going to include into a one-day pass. You're going to have to do like a multi-day pass in order to get in there. I've heard they haven't, Universal hasn't confirmed one way or other, but like, can you buy per portal, per land, right, inside, instead of buying all of Epic Universe? It'll be interesting to see how they do this. And we still have probably another 8 months or so.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. They say 2025. I think that it was supposed to be like mid-2025, but everything is pointing to it being done quickly.
Yeah, I think May 1999 that they opened up Islands of Adventure. And so that would be cool if they kind of paired it in. Yeah. Knowing that Universal's been like going off of dates that mean something. Yeah. That would be interesting if they release it, but time will tell.
I think as we get closer, the thing I'm most concerned about, I guess, is, I mean, we've seen huge attractions open at Disney and Universal over the years, and we've seen the wait times, and we've seen the virtual queues, and we've seen how this stuff works. And we haven't seen a new park in Orlando for what, 20-something years?
Yeah. 25 years. Yeah.
So what is that going to look like? How are they going to like let people in? Like, I really hope that they do keep it as like an exclusive thing where maybe you have to pay more money, but at least whenever you go in, it's not going to be a nightmare.
Yeah.
You know,
nobody wants to go in and wait to go ride Yoshi for an hour and a half, right? But they're going to want to recoup their investment as quick as possible, right? And so you're going to try to see, and then how does this suck out other visitors from the other 2 parks, which is probably why they want you to do a multi-day pass. Yeah. That would make sense.
I mean, I would say that if you've ever wanted to go to Universal and you've never been before, and you don't care about Epic, this is probably the best time for you to go, is right after this park opens. You're going to be able to ride I'm assuming you're going to be able to ride everything
quicker.
No problem. It's going to be super easy.
Yeah, it's cool to see. I mean, right now the parks in general, and we're shooting this video, August almost of 2024. Yep. Parks are down, like in terms of overall attendance. Every time I go, it feels like, well, not every time. I would say 80% of the time I go, it's not terrible. Like, I mean, rides are 30, 40 minutes. We went to Universal the other night. I think we waited 25 minutes for Hagrid's, which was...
That's crazy.
Crazy. Now, it was almost park close, so it was like towards the end of the night, but it was interesting to see. Like, I'm kind of curious if maybe it was the COVID push that we had, that where so many people came to Disney and Universal, and now it's like, they're feeling the end of summer. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see when this does open up next year, what the theme parks look like.
I mean, I think no matter what the reasoning is or whatever, this park is going to be packed.
Oh, for sure.
It's going to be crazy. I'm more interested, I think, in how it will affect not only the Universal parks, but the Disney parks.
Yeah.
Like, how will it bring down attendance? If I was coming here and I was waiting my entire life to go on a Disney trip, like, and I just think about, like, oh, I get into the airport and now there's all these signs everywhere that's like, I need to go to Epic Universe.
That's all I want to do now. Yeah. And then the other cool thing is, I know D23 is coming up here. Like, are they going to announce something to counteract Epic, which would be fantastic? I think that we all win when they're going back and forth and fighting for market share. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. I don't know, man.
Yeah, exciting stuff.
It is. Yeah,
good,
for sure.
Good stuff for the attraction industry in Orlando.
All right, so as we wrap up, first portal, first land you're running to, assuming that you have all of the options available to you.
I mean, I would have, before today's announcement, I would have said Darkmoor.
Yeah.
I just have to ride this ride in Harry Potter Land.
I agree.
Like, it sounds like something we've never experienced before, and I'm just like, I love ride technology. I'm like obsessed with it. So just the idea of riding something that's like completely new, something they've never built before. I think that what stands out to me about theme parks in general is, like, I get to walk into a place where I get to do things that only exist right here.
Yeah.
I cannot do this anywhere else. It's such a unique experience. And, like, I can't just take that. Like, yeah, there's some attractions that exist in other places, but I'm only going to be able to do this thing right here.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be one of the only people who have ever experienced it in the entire world. So yeah, I'm going to go straight to,
Darkmoor.
Yeah. No.
Oh, Ministry of Magic.
Ministry of Magic.
Yeah, that one is for sure. I feel like, the same. For me, anytime you can get immersed into what feels like a movie that you have such an indelible mark in your head, that's where I'm going to be headed. So that's why I spend so much time over at, like, in Harry Potter, like, when on the other two parks anyways. So I think that's it. And then being able to walk in through the Flute Network and the Ministry of Magic, it's going to be so dope. I'm excited.
Super exciting.
That's the pod.
Cool. Thank you, guys.